here are some iPhone 14 and iPhone 14 Pro features that you may not know about. Welcome everybody to Apple Insider. It is Andrew here, and there are a lot of new features in the iPhone 14 and iPhone 14 Pro that are headline grabbing. Things like the satellite connectivity, the fancy new cameras, but there are also some other features that you may not be aware of and you might want to. So let's go through the top 8 features of iPhone 14 and iPhone 14 Pro that you may not know. Starting off with Bluetooth. Now, I did want the iPhone 14 series to support Wi-Fi 6E, and unfortunately, Apple didn't do that. But luckily, it did upgrade the Bluetooth spec, which is the first time in a long while. Now it's gone from supporting Bluetooth 5 to supporting Bluetooth 5.3. While overall a relatively small update for the Bluetooth spec, it should bring improvements to just audio quality and connectivity for wireless devices, including the new AirPods Pro. Another change, at least for US users, that the iPhone 14 series will be eSIM only, and Apple will be completely ditching the actual SIM card tray on the phones themselves. There are benefits to this because it's very easy to store multiple digital SIM cards and move between them, moving to a new device. You don't have to order a SIM card or get a SIM card to put in, and people cannot steal them out of your phone or replace them in your phone. So there's a lot of benefits to eSIM, but it can be a downside for anyone who does require physical SIM cards or moves between them frequently. So it's definitely a plus and minus situation here, but for US users, that SIM card tray will be gone on the new devices. Cinematic mode is really cool. It's an awesome effect where they can blur out the backgrounds and pull the focus between different subjects on screen. It's amazing. But with a name like Cinematic Mode, you'd think it would support the latest and greatest resolutions. But with Cinematic Mode on the iPhone 13 series, it only supported 1080p. Not very cinematic. Well, that's being remedied because with the iPhone 14 Pro and iPhone 14 Pro Max, you will now be able to shoot cinematic mode in full 4K resolution, both 24 and 30 frames per second. On the Pro models of the iPhone 14, Apple does tout increased memory bandwidth, but fortunately, all iPhone 14 models will include 6 gigs of memory standard. So even while the iPhone 14 and iPhone 14 Plus don't get the new A16 Bionic processor and it's sticking with that 5 GPU A15 Bionic processor, you'll at least be able to take advantage of more memory on those devices. At the beginning of this video, I mentioned the emergency SOS via satellite feature, and that's really cool. But there's something you may not know about it. This is technically a paid feature. That's right, this isn't free for Apple to operate, and you're gonna have to pay for it one way or the other. See, when this is happening, some emergency services don't accept text messages. So when you text emergency services through satellites, Apple has to set up relay call centers that will actually get your text and call emergency services on your behalf. So yeah, it isn't free for Apple to do. But fortunately, when you buy an iPhone 14, you get this service free for 2 years. It's bundled into the price of the phone. What happens after 2 years? Right now, we don't know. Apple hasn't commented on how much the emergency SOS via satellite will cost when that 2 years is up. But if I had to guess, I think this is just another thing for Apple to bundle into its iCloud Plus subscription plans and just tie it with everything else. You get your storage, you get your other stuff going on, but then you also have the new SOS via satellite feature. So that would be my thought. I hope Apple doesn't have to charge a separate fee for a security feature. It should just be bundled in one way or the other, so fingers crossed on that front. The iPhone 14 Pro and iPhone 14 Pro Max have great new displays. Everyone's talking about the dynamic island that's able to change based on what you're doing and the status of stuff in the background. It's ridiculously cool and amazing how Apple tied this hardware and software together in such a seamless way. But it's not the only change coming to the display. The new Pro displays on these phones will now support higher brightnesses. So there's a new peak brightness during HDR content of 1600 nits, which is up from, I believe, 1200 on the prior generation device, and that's the same peak HDR brightness of the Pro Display XDR. On top of that, Apple is now advertising a higher peak brightness when in direct sunlight. It can now get up to 2000 nits, allowing you to much more easily see your phone when it's bright outside. This is a huge deal, and I'm so excited that Apple increased the brightness. Now I just need to hope the phone doesn't overheat so easily. Which brings me to my next hidden, unknown, little known feature of the iPhone 14 series. The entire lineup of phones includes a new design on the inside to help reduce the thermal limitations. Basically, Apple just helped the phones be a bit cooler than they were before. There should just be improved heat dissipation, and with less heat buildup in your phone, it should allow it to run better and faster for longer. Whether you're gaming, editing videos, shooting videos, anything like that, your phone should be able to perform better without overheating as easily. This could be a huge deal depending on how well Apple changed that thermal design. Finally, the last little known feature on these new phones is that Apple has once again increased the battery life. And I'm not just talking about the plus size version of the basic iPhone 14, I'm talking Apple actually increased battery life on all of the models. Whether it's because of the processors or because other enhancements or improvements to the battery, doesn't matter, we're getting longer battery life. For the basic iPhone 14, Apple says you could stream 20 hours of video playback versus the iPhone 13, which capped at 19 hours. So in the video playback test, you get an entire extra hour of use out of the new iPhones. Depending on what you're doing and your software, all that stuff could change how much actual battery life you have, but the point is there's better battery life on these new phones, and that can only be a good thing. So let me know what you guys think. One, which iPhone 14 are you guys eyeing? Is it the Pros? Is it the Max? Is it the Plus? Let me know in the comments, and what color. On top of that, let me know if there's other great features that you discovered or you're excited about. Let me know in the comments or on Twitter at Andrew_OSU. And once the new phones are live, we'll put some deals down below in the description for you. Otherwise, stay tuned, because I got a lot more videos headed your way.